Morning and TGIF. It is Friday, January 10th, 2020, and you're watching the Daily Mix TV. Hi, my name is Sean Patrick Hillman. All right, folks, it's the end of the week. It's basically the first week back from the new year, and it's certainly been a really, really busy start to the year. You've got so many things that are going on, so there's a lot of news today, and we're just going to dive right into it. PepsiCo's Mountain Dew brand is launching a zero sugar version of its original Mountain Dew soft drink later this month. And of course, in true marketing fashion, it's called Mountain Dew Zero Sugar, and that's so that consumers will plainly know what the brand variant is. The beverage is going to be released on January 13th in the US, and it'll be available in their typical formats. So 20 fluid ounce bottles, 2-liter bottles, 12 packs of 12 fluid ounce cans, and a variety of other single and multi-pack sizes. Now, Pepsi did state that the new zero sugar drink retains the same bold flavor of the original soft drink without the need for sugar. They're targeting consumers who are looking to reduce their sugar consumption without compromising on flavor. Quote, "This is a big moment for Dew. We are excited to give customers a zero sugar offering. Because our fans are uncompromising with the Dew they know and love, we knew we had to pull off a formulation that would preserve the great taste of the original. Mountain Dew Zero Sugar delivers on a bold flavor and ever-evolving consumer preferences." And that's Nicole Portwood, who's the VP of Marketing at Mountain Dew. Now, just so you guys are aware, Nicole is actually an old friend of mine. She and I worked together on Bacardi USA, Bacardi Rums, and Grey Goose Vodka, and a handful of others. Nicole is a brilliant marketer. She always has been. When she left the agency she was working for Bacardi, she actually ended up working at Tito's Vodka as the head of their marketing, and we all know how that worked out. I mean, talk about a meteoric rise for a brand. Anyway, Nicole, I'm so proud of you. Congratulations. Great job on this development. The drink is going to be available for major U.S. retailers with a suggested retail price of $1.79 per 20 fluid ounce bottle. We talk about food, beverage, snacks, and alcohol a lot on the Daily Mix TV for a whole lot of reasons. And I'm going to get into another story in a second, but circling back to Mountain Dew, when you think about how popular Mountain Dew is and how long it's lasted, to launch a zero sugar variant is a very smart move in this year, especially at the top of the year, when you've got everybody still concerned about their New Year's resolutions, whether it's weight loss or I'm going to exercise more and so on. Either way, you usually in January go on somewhat of a clean kick. So there's a reason why dry January exists, where I believe the number is 1 in 8 U.S. consumers don't drink during the month of January. The same is true of sugar intake. A lot of people pull back on buying candies and chocolates and things that are laden with sugar, full calorie cola, those kinds of things. So Mountain Dew launching a zero sugar variant, very smart move, very proud of you, Nicole. Great job, guys. Now, back to the notion that we talk a lot about food and snacks and those kinds of things on the Daily Mix. There's a reason why. Think about this. How many times a day do you usually eat? 2 or 3? Plus you have snacks throughout the day. That is a big part of being a human being, and it's a big part of business, especially from a marketing perspective. There are so many food brands out there and so many beverage brands out there, all competing for the same consumer. So the reason why we talk about it so much is because it is, in fact, such a big part of our lives. And it's really important for people to understand why decisions are made about, such as Mountain Dew, launching a zero sugar brand. Why are you doing that? Well, because you want to target consumers who are concerned about their sugar intake. You've got the rise of diabetes, you've got a major rise in diabetes cases in this country. So something like this can certainly help. All right. Now, there's also another snack. There's a snack brand that is launching another variant as well. So, when you're sitting down and you're eating Cheetos, as an example, and you've got all of that orange cheesy dust on your fingers that you end up licking off, and we all do it. Well, believe it or not, there's actually a name for that. It's called Cheetle, Cheetle. Well, snackers everywhere are going to start rejoicing at a new format that the Cheetos brand is launching: popcorn. Cheetos popcorn marks the first time ever that popcorn has been infused with Cheetle. Cheetos' new ready-to-eat popcorn brings the legendary taste of the iconic Cheetos seasoning to one of America's snacking favorites. Now they're changing out the butter and the salt for the cheesy and spicy flavors fans know and love. It's available in 2 flavor formats, Cheddar and Flamin Hot, so it's mirroring the original Cheetos flavor profile. Cheetos popcorn will step up fans' snacking game with cheesy and flamin' hot twists on a snack perfect for any occasion. Ready to go right out of the bag, Cheetos popcorn creates a new snacking experience that pairs the classic taste of popcorn with the added boost of cheesy, spicy, and flavorful fun from Cheetos, and that's according to the company. Now, Cheetos popcorn is going to be available in 7-ounce cheddar bags and 6.5-ounce Flamin' Hot bags for a suggested retail price of $3.99 and 2-ounce bags for a suggested retail price of $1.89. For Cheetos to do this is an incredibly intelligent and strategic move. When you think about the snacking space, especially on those shelves, there are so many brands. I mean, yesterday I went to one of our local grocers, which is Brooklyn Fare on 37th Street in Hudson Yards between 9th and 10th. I go there every day. I talk to a lot of the guys there. The owner's a friend of mine. So I'm standing in front of the snack section, just looking and seeing what's new, what's available, those kinds of things. The amount of product competing for your dollar is incredible. So Cheetos going from just their traditional platform to also now having popcorn gives them extra shelf space. They're obviously paying slotting fees for that to get more space, but the more space you have on a shelf, the higher the likelihood of sales by about 12 to 14% you're going to gain based on that impact at shelf. So it's incredibly important for snack brands and beverage brands alike to be able to increase their distribution and their shelf presence through product innovation. So kudos to Cheetos. Can't wait to taste the new popcorn. All right, sorry guys, I've got a bit of an itch in my throat. Over the last week, we've talked a lot, ad nauseum, about holiday retail sales. And in a follow-up to that, and this is the last time I'm going to bring this up until the quarterly numbers come out, it looks like Bed Bath & Beyond is pulling back on their fiscal outlook reporting for now and delaying the closing of 60 doors to try and sell off as much inventory as possible. Now, it also came out that JCPenney's and Victoria's Secret disclosed poor sales performance during the holiday for same-store sales. Even Kohl's had lower same-store sales, declining 0.2% during the holiday. But all three are looking at poor performance for very different reasons. So Penny's and Kohl's really, they got overshadowed by discount competitors like TJ Maxx and Marshalls and so on, while Victoria's Secret, which is the biggest loser in this report, at a loss of 12% year-over-year same-store sales because they became trend deaf with risque product to sell when consumers were seeking comfort. That's why research and paneling and surveys are so incredibly important, especially at retail. You need to know what your customers want, and you're going to want to, design your entire approach around that need. The days of excess inventory and overbuying and those kinds of things are over. It's too expensive right now, especially in a city like New York or LA or Chicago. When you get into the Midwest, it's a little different because you've got a little more time. Your cost per square foot isn't necessarily as prohibitive. When you're in a major urban metro and your rents are so high, you've got to make sure your sales are pumping. So excess inventory becomes a serious problem, especially from a space constraint perspective. When you look at Victoria's Secret, they literally pantry loaded risque product after risque product when trend was clearly showing more comfort. So even their sexy pajama program, if they had pumped that up, they would have had higher sales. 12% loss, same-store sales year over year is a massive chunk. And it just shows exactly the problem that's going on at L Brands, the parent company, right now. They are struggling to keep Victoria's Secret even flat at this point. So we'll keep an eye on this one for you. I have a feeling that their next quarterly report is going to be really bad. So, and unfortunately, that also includes Valentine's Day, which is a big day for Victoria's Secret. We'll keep an eye on it for you. Oh, man. The last 2 days, headlines have been dominated by Megxit. So Prince Harry and Meghan Markle shocked the world Wednesday by stepping down from their senior royal duties, announcing they're going to spend half the year in Canada, basically in Toronto, where Markle had been filming Suits during her career. The other half of the year they're going to spend in London, and that they would also become, quote, financially independent once free of their royal responsibilities. Now, I'm not going to get into the politics of this for a whole lot of reasons, but I find it interesting that Prince Harry was told by both Prince Charles and Her Majesty the Queen, Elizabeth II, not to make an announcement until Harry had a concrete plan that they could all agree on. Well, that plan may actually be in place unbeknownst to Her Majesty. Last summer, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle trademarked Sussex Royal brand for more than 100 items. Under both the Sussex Royal brand and their charity, the Foundation of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, the couple secured trademarks with a wide cross-section of product. That includes clothing, stationery, photographs, educational and charitable endeavors, and maybe even a newspaper or a magazine, some kind of form of print and online media. So I'm wondering if there wasn't actually another agenda behind this. Only time will tell and we'll see. But I can tell you right now, if they do launch that brand, millennials unto themselves will clamor for it. Gen Z probably as well. Younger Gen Xers, definitely. Boomers, absolutely not. Older Gen Xers, no way. The notion of going up against Buckingham Palace, going against the royal brand per se, is not something that a lot of people are in favor of. Now, younger people certainly are supportive of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex because, throughout his entire life, Harry's been targeted by the media because of, obviously what happened with his mother, with Princess Diana. And then you look at Meghan Markle, who's just been a hot button issue since the day they met in terms of the tabloids in the UK. Certainly the blowback from people who weren't a fan of hers in the United States. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. If they do this brand, it has a lot of potential. I mean, really think about this. As long as the designs are sound and the product approach is there, because they're not going to have the same level of public relations behind them because they won't be part of Buckingham Palace in that traditional way, their numbers may be hard to achieve depending on what those forecasts are. But again, that's all about product mix and design. At that point, the initial interest of looking at Royal Sussex as a brand will certainly drive those initial sales. But the question is, will it survive the test of time? So, as I'm apt to say, only time will tell, and we will definitely keep an eye on it for you. Now, speaking of the United Kingdom, looks like Brexit is a go. The House of Commons overwhelmingly voted in favor of Prime Minister Boris Johnson's Brexit deal, separating the UK from the European Union at the end of this month. However, with Johnson's plan, there is a second phase which involves forming a trade deal with the European Union by the end of the year. So when you look at what's going on in the UK right now, oh man, it is a topsy-turvy world we live in. It's certainly interesting times we live in both the US and the UK. When you look at the European Union, there are a lot of challenges for a lot of the countries that are part of the Union. The fact that the UK is going to pull out in order to secure and maintain their sovereignty. You look at countries like Italy, where the lira was doing okay. You had massive tourism happening before the European Union formed and the euro was created. As soon as the euro happened, that was it. Spending in Italy for tourists went down because, unfortunately, compared to the dollar, the euro was almost on par, whereas the lira, you could get away with spending a lot of lira and it didn't hit you too hard, and you could buy really good designer products. So a lot of that started to erode when the euro was created. The fact that the UK is pulling out, I have a feeling we're going to start to see other countries also defect for those financial reasons. But we will see. All right, Taco Bell. Now, this is interesting. The fast food space is so fucked up right now. I mean, it's amazing how bad it is. Because, well, bad in a good way, I mean. You look at the announcement the other day about Little Caesars saddling up with DoorDash. You look at last year's roller coaster ride with John Schnatter and Papa John's. You look at the social fun war, so to speak, because they're making fun of each other, between Burger King and Wendy's, and then McDonald's threw their hat in the ring. It is a very interesting time in fast food. But Taco Bell has been, and then of course we can't forget the Popeye's chicken sandwich issue. When you look at what's going on in fast food in general, it's a very interesting category right now. There's a lot of growth potential. There's a lot of development in product and service approach that they're implementing on the actual retail store level. Now, Taco Bell is taking a very interesting twist to what's going on. Remember, recently they launched their Cantina platform. So more late night operations, serving, alcoholic beverages, certainly more of an adult approach to what Taco Bell is. Now, in terms of their latest announcement, they're testing a new strategy to try and lure talent. And it's a very, very smart push. The U.S. labor market right now is very tough because you've got a low unemployment rate, yet you have a lot of people who are apparently still out of work because they're on the dole or, they're on welfare rolls, whatever it may be. Those people, a lot of them have incredible skill sets. And that's part of what Taco Bell is targeting. Now, it is, Taco Bell announced yesterday they're offering a 6-figure salary in select Midwest and Northeast locations. And it's also beginning to offer 24 hours of paid sick time a year to workers at corporate-owned stores. Now, the salary they're offering is up to $100,000. So, yeah, you heard that right. You can be a manager at Taco Bell and make $100,000 if it's in the Midwest or in the Northeast, depending on the location. Again, sorry guys, I've got a tickle in my throat. So for Taco Bell, this is actually, from a public relations perspective, this is an interesting move, certainly a smart one. I can't wait to see what the result on this is. More importantly, I can't actually wait to see what the impact this is to their business from a PR perspective. So is press and this announcement and some of the other things they've been doing, is that going to raise their sales? Well, time will tell and we'll see. The fledgling electric scooter industry has been fighting vehicle attrition, high labor costs, and regulatory battles, according to the folks at Axios. Now, I'm bringing this up because Lime is actually eroding pretty significantly, and it's created a bit of a blowback. Here's what's going on in sort of the alternative transport community. So you've got everything from bikes that you can rent in New York City from City Bike, which is now owned by Lyft. You've got this notion of e-bikes, which is banned in the city of New York, and the state of New York is still looking at how that's gonna play and what they're gonna do from a regulatory perspective. Remember, years ago, and I mean years ago, Segway was invented, and that was going to be the future of human transportation. The problem is that the CEO of Segway at that time, Dean Kamen, unfortunately, the ego just overrode everything. He didn't go to the Department of Transportation for approval. He actually went to a friend of mine who was working with him on distribution and got a deal for Ford Motor Company to sell and distribute Segway through the dealerships. But the Department of Transportation banned it based on, a lack of safety testing and those kinds of things, as well as some very small accidental issues that occurred. I mean, getting used to driving the Segways is easy, but it does take, a hot minute. So the way that the Department of Transportation looked at it is, hey, you know what, Segway, fuck you. You didn't ask us for permission, so bye-bye. The only people who were allowed to use Segway were law enforcement and warehouse workers in those massive acre-long warehouse units in different markets across the country. So when I think about the fact that Lime is pulling back somewhere around 18%, I believe is what I read, it's a scary time. You know, electric scooters or e-bikes in New York and those kinds of things can be dangerous. San Francisco has had a bit of a topsy-turvy relationship in trying to figure out how to make that work in San Francisco. Now, in tourist areas, I know because I've driven them myself with my wife Kylie when we went on vacation there a few years ago. From a tourist perspective, it's great. From a residential perspective, being a New Yorker and seeing, you know, the way tourists are on bikes as it is, it can be dangerous. So it's really a matter of finding the balance somewhere in the middle. But the regulatory issues and the laws is what's driving the conversation. And a lot of it has to just flat out do with safety. So hopefully they'll figure this out, because it would be nice to see yet another offering or another platform for people to be able to use to get around places like New York. All right, for this week's Flashback Friday, entertainment tonight ingrained in American pop culture nearly 40 years ago. Well, tonight they're celebrating a historic 10,000th episode. So in honor of that, here's the original opening. All right, guys, I'm out of time. My name is Sean Patrick Hillman. I'm the editor-in-chief of the Daily Mix TV. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, comments, or story ideas, please email thedailymixtv@gmail.com. Have a great weekend, guys. We'll see you on Monday.